Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I'm going to talk about something very important. Something very important to you, especially, because you all are seeking for something. You have been seeking, and still you didn't find, and you didn't stop. You keep doing the same thing over and over again, and you didn't get the result yet. But you do it anyway, because this is the only option you have. But we found the other option. I'm going to talk about that option. I'll tell you later. I'm going to talk about the truth. It may be a little bit bitter, as you all know, because we have created our own life in our own way. And we think that that way is correct, that's the right way. That's why you use that way, that method, that lifestyle. But when we talk about the truth, please don't be offended. I'm here to help you. I'm here to show you that we have another path to achieve happiness. Actually, we have, I can't say another path. Actually, this is the only path. I can prove it to you. Therefore, I want you to listen to this and apply this into your life. I'm going to talk about your life. Is that okay? Therefore, please don't be offended. Let's think about this. And the other thing is, if you can understand something, if you think that you found the truth, I want you to change. Try. That is the hardest part. You will understand this. You will realize that this is the truth. But you won't change. That is the hardest part. But if you can change, you will be happy. Let's talk about this. I know that everyone wants to be happy. I think you have been trying to achieve happiness and you have been doing so many things to achieve happiness. You have been doing so many things. Maybe since your birth, you have been doing that. But still, you are doing it. You try to do something, ladies and gentlemen, to make yourself happy. Because you think that happiness is in outside world. Happiness is in objects, goods, materialistic things. Therefore, you try to achieve happiness. You try to make. But the thing is, you can't create happiness because happiness is within you. When the mind is created, happiness is also created. But when I say that when the mind is created, you may have a problem now. When the mind is created, you're talking about when God create the world? No. The mind is created right now, ladies and gentlemen. Mind is not continuous. The mind is discrete. The mind is created because of some causes. When the causes come together, the mind is created. That's an effect. Nothing is continuous in this world. Everything is discrete. If I show you this pen, you might think that this is continuous, but this is not continuous. This is discrete. You know that everything is made of atoms, and atoms are made of subatomic particles. Then how can this be continuous? This is made of atoms. That means between two atoms there is an attraction force. If I draw two atoms, between that there is an attraction force. That means in between this, nothing is there. That's why I told you, this is not continuous. This is not a plate. If I show this is not a plate. This has, actually this is made of atoms. This is made of subatomic particles. Everything is like that. Your body, your hair, the chair you sit on, everything is made of subatomic particles. That means everything is discrete. So as the mind. The mind is also discrete, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, you can't perceive the mind as a continuous thing. It's discrete. In this moment, the mind is created. That's why you can hear. That's why you can see. Later on, I'll talk about that. But here, when the mind is created, happiness is also created. You can't find it. You can't make it. You can't build it. You can't search for it. It is there. It is within you. Then you may have a problem. If it is within me, why should I look for it? Actually, that's the question I'm going to ask. If that is within you, why do you seek for it? I know the answer, ladies and gentlemen. Happiness is created in your mind, but you can't feel it. You can't experience it. That's the tragedy. It was there. It has been there. Each time you are happy. But the problem is, you couldn't experience that. You couldn't experience that, therefore you wanted to find happiness. You wanted to seek for happiness. That's why you have done everything. You have achieved so many things just to experience happiness. Think about that. You got married, you bought a house, you bought a nice car, not a normal one, maybe a massive one, very expensive one. You have achieved so many goals just to make yourself happy. Now you have many things, but the problem is, you have everything. I think you have a wife or husband. You have everything. You have children, but do you have happiness within you? Are you happy, ladies and gentlemen? When I ask, are you happy? Then you might think, yes, we are happy. Okay. If you are happy, can you stop all sort of things you do and sit on a chair and stay still for an hour without your phone, without talking to your friends, without watching movies, television? Can you keep yourself away from all these things, ladies and gentlemen? You can't. Because when you stop doing something, you feel something miserable. You feel that your life is actually miserable. I'm sorry to use this word, ladies and gentlemen. You feel that. Therefore, you always want to do something. Sometimes you think that you feel loneliness, but that's not the thing. You feel miserable. You feel unsatisfaction at that time. You feel a void. You try to fill in. You try to do something to fill in. That's why you have achieved all those things. But still you are suffering. Still you are vexed. You try to do something to come out of that. But you have experienced happiness by doing something. But unfortunately, that's not happiness, ladies and gentlemen. That's called pleasure. Happiness is in your heart, in your mind. You can't create it. It is within you from the beginning. You can't create it. But when you do something, you feel pleasure. That's called pleasure. You can't achieve pleasure without doing anything. Always you have to do something to achieve pleasure, to feel pleasure. I'll give you some examples, then you will realize this. When you bend your knee, it hurts. Yeah? After that, what should you do? You stretch it. Then what do you feel? Pleasure. Do you think that stretching your leg is pleasurable? Then keep it as it is. Then what happened? Later on, what happened? Then it hurts again. Then what should you do? You bend it again. Then you feel pleasure. Tell me, which one is pleasurable? Bend or stretch? Which one is pleasurable? Nothing is pleasurable, ladies and gentlemen. Coming out of vexation is pleasurable. I'll draw and show you later. When your mind is vexed and you do something to come out of vexation because you can't tolerate vexation. Mental vexation can't be tolerated, ladies and gentlemen. That's so hard to tolerate. You can be patient up to a certain level. After that, you can't. That's why you get angry. That's why sometimes you want to destroy the world. That's why people fight, because they can't tolerate mental vexation. Mental vexation means mental pressure, which is built in your mind. I'll tell you the reason. You can see the evil. People fight. People steal. People kill. Some people want to destroy the world. Sometimes they think that I want to protect my religion, or I want to protect my country, therefore I'm going to destroy the entire world. I want to protect my family, therefore I'm going to destroy other people. That's how people think. Actually, what's happened is, due to their mental vexation, the mind wants to come out of that. When that happens, we see that someone is angry. But that's not the truth. The mind is vexed. The mind is vexed and the mind can't tolerate it anymore. Therefore, it starts to do something. It starts to do something to come out of vexation. That's why people try to hurt others. The vexed mind is unstable. You can't trust anyone. Right now, if the person next to you gets vexed, you can't trust him, because the mind, the vexed mind especially, can't be trusted. It can do anything to come out of that. That's why we can see lustful behaviors, because the mind is vexed. When the mind is vexed, the mind can't see anything. The mind never follows any virtues after that. I know that you all are virtuous people. You have your own virtues. You follow them when you are normal. But when you are vexed, can you follow them? You can't. At that time, the vexed mind does something to come out of that. Even you are the father, you are the mother. Vexed mind can't be trusted. I'll show you how. And before that, I think we all have heard something. For money is the root of all evil. Have you heard that? You might have believed it, but I don't believe it, Sachin. I don't have even a penny, but I don't believe it. Because your money builds churches, temples. It can feed the poor. Money is not the root of all evil. I'll tell you. The root of all evil is not money, it's desire. Desire. That's the root of all evil, ladies and gentlemen. I can prove it. But you might think that no, desire, we should have a desire. We all have a desire, not a normal desire. We should have a burning desire. When you have a burning desire, you can do a lot of things. That's how you believe. That's what the world made you believe. Because everyone is vexed. Everyone wants to come out of vexation. Therefore, but they don't have a path to eradicate vexation. That's what I told you at the beginning. People don't have a path to eradicate vexation. What they have is they always think how to come out of vexation. There are two ways. But people know only one way. When you are vexed, you have 1,000 methods to come out of vexation. That's what you have learned. How to come out of vexation. Actually, that's why you got a good education, ladies and gentlemen. Can't you remember that you went to your parents and asked, how can be a happy person? What did they say? They said, get a good education, then you will be happy. Get a good education, then you will have a lot of money and you will be a rich person, then after that you will be happy. That's what you have followed, I think. That's the reason you are here, maybe. Because you wanted to be happy and you followed the world. What they said is, if you can get a good education, you will be happy. Then they told me as well. I did that, I followed it. I got a good education. But I didn't earn happiness, I didn't achieve happiness, I didn't experience it by doing all those things. I think you also. From time to time, you have experienced pleasure. And you think that this world is pleasurable. You think that having a desire is pleasurable. That's what the world made you believe. Then when you believe that, you always accept all desires. When someone says this one is good, then you accept. When someone says that one is good, then you accept. Because you believe that happiness is in outside world. You can achieve them by having it. You can achieve happiness by having them. That's how you got a house. You thought that by buying a mansion, not a house. House is not enough for you, I think. Can you remember? A small house is not enough. You wanted to buy a mansion because you watched a movie and you saw a nice mansion and with few servants and with few new cars. At that time, you got a desire. Then you might think that having a desire is good. I'll show you what happens after that when you have a desire. But I'm talking about desire. I'm not talking about an aim. You can have an aim. Everyone has an aim. But the difference between the aim and a desire is always the desire works with attachment. Aim is an aim. You can have an aim. Even I have an aim. I want you to understand this, but I don't have a desire you to understand this. That means I don't have a wanting you to understand this. I don't have a wanting you to understand this, but I have an aim. That's why I preach to you. That's my aim. It doesn't have any attachment. If I have any attachment with this, then I'll be suffering. If you don't understand this, or sometimes I'll be vexed because I might think that whether you understand this. That's the difference. Aim and a desire. When you have a desire, actually it burns your mind. That's why it is called a burning desire. You always love to have a burning desire. Because you have seen that when you have a burning desire, you can build the world. That's how people showed. They have shown to you, I got a desire, therefore I built a house. I got a desire, therefore I got a new car. Therefore you think that having a desire is very important and very nice. But I'm telling you, having a desire kills you. It destroys you. I can prove it to you, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, if you can understand this, let's change. That the root of all evil, you think that it's money, but if you can understand this, you will see that the root of all evil is desire. Having a desire. Let me tell you this. When you have a desire, what is the first feeling you get? Think about that. Go to your life's experience. When you have a desire, your mind is vexed, ladies and gentlemen. At the same time, when you get the desire, your mind is vexed. Think about the house. You saw a big house and you get the desire to have it. When you get a desire to have it, at the same time, your mind gets vexed. Now you can't stop yourself. Actually, after that, you don't follow your desire, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, you do something to come out of vexation. If I want you to do something, I can do it very easily. How? I want you to have a desire. Let's assume that I don't have money to buy a house, therefore I want a house for rent. But I can't find any house. Then I'll come to you and say that, oh, you are so rich. Why don't you build a building? Why don't you build a house? Why don't you have a house? When I say that, oh, I can show you some nice pictures. Then, if I can plant that desire in your mind, At the same time, your mind is vexed. Now, I just need to wait and see. I don't have to nurture it because your mind is vexed now. Now you do something to come out of vexation. There are two ways to come out of vexation. First thing is somehow you achieve it. It doesn't matter if you don't have to care about virtues. Somehow you achieve it because you can't stay without achieving it. Because that's the only way. And the other way is committing suicide. You have seen these things. As a children commit suicide. Why? What's the reason? Children are addicted to drugs. Why? Do you think that the reason is money? No. The reason is desire. When they have a desire, they try to achieve that because they can't stop themselves from achieving it. Because when you have a desire, a mental vexation is created. No one can tolerate that. When you see a beautiful thing, you can't tolerate it anymore. You want to achieve it, you want to buy it, you want to take it. Go to your past, ladies and gentlemen. Go to your experience. Take your all experiences and check. Then you can understand what I'm saying. When you had a desire, that means when you see something beautiful, when you see something nice, when you see something expensive or something valuable, you always got a desire. When you got a desire, your mind started to burn. Your mind started to burn, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, you had to do something. That's why, actually, we can ignite you by giving a desire. Giving a desire means actually giving a view. If you think that the world is pleasurable, you always take the view. When I said I saw a beautiful girl, then you believe it. Because you think that, oh yeah, it can be. Because happiness is, the world is pleasurable. Happiness is outside, in outside world. The world is pleasurable. When I say that I read a nice book, awesome book, then you believe it. Because you think that world is pleasurable. When I say I went to a restaurant and I ate some delicious food, then you believe it. You always believe it. But when I say, I'm going to use some kind of offensive word, okay? Is that okay? Right? Don't be offended. I'm going to use it. When I say that, you are a donkey, do you believe it? When I said, I read a nice book, you believe it. You didn't question. Yeah? When I talk about delicious food, you believe it. When I talk about a beautiful girl or handsome man, then you believe it. When I said you are a donkey, you don't believe it. Why? Tell me the reason, ladies and gentlemen. Why don't you believe that you are a donkey? Because you are not. Because you are not a donkey. You are a human being, ladies and gentlemen. You are not a donkey. Do I have to say that? Or you know it? You are a human being. You are not a donkey. You know that. For 100%. You know it. Therefore, you don't believe it. But when I said, I saw a beautiful girl, how do you believe it? Because you always believe that world is pleasurable. That's why when someone gives you a view, you straight away take it. And that view can make a desire in your mind. That's how you got everything, ladies and gentlemen. And some of you, that's why you came to this country. Because you met someone who used to live in this country and he said, oh, Australia is a very nice country. then you believe it. And sometimes he might have said that this much beautiful. Hmm? He was talking about so many beautiful things, and you believe it. But at the same time, if he told you that you are a donkey, do you believe it at that time? You don't believe it because you know that, but you don't know about Australia. You don't know anything about the world, ladies and gentlemen, but you know about yourself. You are not a donkey, therefore you don't believe it. But when someone says the world is beautiful, the world is nice, the food is tasty, you believe it because you think that world is pleasurable. But I'm going to prove that world is not pleasurable, ladies and gentlemen. That's the reason you are suffering. That's the only reason, because you always believe and you accept everything. When someone gives you a view, you accept it. That's called ignorance. But I'm not talking about you are not uneducated, but you are ignorant. Don't be offended. Ignorant means you don't know the reality of the world. That's the reason. That's why you are suffering. That's why you are building the world. That's why you do anything and everything to build the world, because you need to come out of vexation. If I want some money to come out of my vexation, I can ask someone to kidnap your daughter. I'm not going to do that, but I can ask. When someone has done it, what happens in your mind? Your mind is vexed. Now you will offer me money. That's how the world runs. If I want money, I plant a desire in your heart. Then you do it, then I'll earn money. That's called advertisements. Advertisements, when you sit in front of the television, you always see them, you watch them. When you watch them, because you strongly believe that world is pleasurable. I'm sorry to say that. That's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. If you can eradicate that, and if you can enlighten yourself that the world is not pleasurable, the pleasure comes just after vexation. If you can understand that, then no one can trap. No one can trap you, ladies and gentlemen. Otherwise, you just need a view. Then you will be suffering. And after that, sometimes you will steal. That's why I told you. Desire is the root of all evil. No one wants to steal. No one wants to murder. But when you are vexed, you have to do something to come out of vexation. Sometimes you don't care about the law. That's why I told you, the vexed mind. Actually, the vexed mind is blind. It does anything, Sanjay. It does anything to come out of vexation. Therefore, we need to eradicate vexation. To eradicate vexation, we need to cease desires. But the problem is, you can't cease desires, or you can't stop getting desires or having desires, because you always get views from your friends. When you see someone's hairstyle, then you believe that it's so beautiful. When you see someone's dress, you believe that it's so beautiful. By seeing or by hearing, you always get views. When you get views, a desire is created in your heart. Then the mind is vexed. Now you have to do something to come out of vexation. That's why businessmen always advertise their goods. When they advertise, they always use a celebrity. A cricketer comes to you and say, I drink this, that's why I hit sixes. Do you believe this, ladies and gentlemen? He's a professional player. He's not permitted to drink all these things. But you believe it. Why? You think that world is so pleasurable. Because you have experienced pleasure. That's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. You have experienced pleasure. But you think that that pleasure came from doing what you have done, or the action, or the product, or the good you use. Therefore, you always think that world is pleasurable. That's why you collect all these things. That's why you expect happiness from the world. But I'll show you this. Let me draw a graph. With the help of this graph, I'll show you what is going on with you. Let's say now you want to be happy. Am I correct? You all want to be happy, right? That's why you have a house, because you want to be happy. Good. That's why you have a vehicle, because you want to be happy. You wanted to be happy, and now you want to be happy. That's why you have a family. You got a wife or a husband, someone, a partner, and you got children. You got a business. You got a job. You got a nice garden. You have everything what you want because you want to be happy. Good. Let's see. The graph in y-axis, I put vexation. Vexation. That is mental pressure. Vexation. Now here, when you get a view from someone, and when you get something is so beautiful, you believe it. But when he says, you are a donkey, you don't believe it. Right. Let's say that you believe it. And at the same time, a desire is created in your heart. That means now you want it. When you have a desire, the very first thing you get is, I want it. Remember that? When you, boys, when you saw a beautiful girl, what was in your mind? I want her. Ladies, when you see a beautiful house, a beautiful garden, a beautiful bouquet of flowers, what was in your mind? I want it. Maybe a sari. I want it. Necklace. I want it. It depends. I want it. When a desire is created in your mind, a wanting is created. Now this is the wanting part. A wanting is created. That means now your mind is vexed because you want it. You want it. The mind is vexed. This is vexation 1. Now tell me, when your mind is vexed, what is the first thought that comes to your mind? When you want something, let's say, when you want something, what is the first thought that comes to your mind? I don't have it. I don't have it. I don't have it. When that thought comes to your mind, then vexation increases. I don't have it. I don't have it. I don't have it. But you try to achieve this, but I don't have it. Still, I don't have it. It has been 5 months, but still, I don't have it. Let's assume that this is a car. You have a wanting for a car because you saw it. Or some of your friends bought it. Therefore, you saw that it's so beautiful or so nice, therefore, you wanted it. Now you have a wanting, now your mind is vexed, and now you try to achieve this, but still you have a problem because I want it, but I don't have it. Here, up to here, I want it. After that, I don't have it, I don't have it, I don't have it, I don't have it, I don't have it. Then you do something now. Now you go for your friends and ask for money, you go to your parents, ask for money, you go to banks, ask for money, and somehow, one day, you achieved it. You got enough money to buy the car. Then you go up to here, ladies and gentlemen. Now your vexation level is here. And in this point, you got some money and you bought the car. When you bought the car, this vexation comes down. Up to where? Comes down to this point or this point. That's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. It comes down to this point or this point. That's the problem. But before that, I want to let you know, I want you to know that happiness is here. Because I told you, the happiness is the original state of mind. It is in the mind. It's the original state of mind, ladies and gentlemen. You can't create happiness. You are happy right now, but you can't feel it. Therefore, you always try. Happiness is there, but you got a desire. Due to that desire, your mind was vexed, and now vexation is here. Now, how can you feel happiness? Because your mind is vexed. Now, only you feel is vexation. That's why you always feel that your life is so miserable. I need to do something. That's why you go on holiday, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to go on holiday. But you always want. You work your fingers to the bone, round the clock, to earn some money, and you spend that overnight when you go to the pub. You work 5 days, and Friday night, you go to a pub and spend all the money you have earned. Because your mind is vexed, you need to do something. That's why you listen to music, because your mind is vexed. Please don't be offended, ladies and gentlemen. That's why you watch movies, because your mind is vexed. I don't want to watch movies. I don't want to listen to music. I don't want to go on holiday. But before I used to do all these things. I was in your shoe. Then I found the Dhamma. Then I found the doctrine of the Lord Buddha, ladies and gentlemen. I found the truth. As Jesus Christ once said, the truth will set you free. Actually, it did. That's how I became a monk. I was a lay person. I wanted to be happy. I did everything what I wanted to do, what people told me to do. what people guided me to do. I achieved things, and finally I got the truth, and I became a free person. Before, I was a slave to my own mind because I had so many desires. I was actually, I was deceived, ladies and gentlemen. I was deceived. The world deceived me. They told me that you can be happy by being rich or being well educated. No, you can't be. Haven't you seen the doctors committing suicide? Why do they do that? Aren't they not well educated? They are well educated, but they are so ignorant about the world, about the reality. Let's go back to the graph. Here, happiness is here, but now you can't feel happiness because you have a desire. Due to that desire, now you have vexation in your mind. The mind is vexed now because mind has a wanting. When it has a wanting, it wants to achieve that. Then you try to achieve it, finally you achieve that. Now I have a question for you. Here, it comes from here to here, then vexation decreases. Then you feel pleasure. Vexation goes up to here. After that, it comes down. When it comes down up to here, you feel pleasure. But I stopped it here. I didn't come back to the original point. I'll prove that to you. It doesn't come. Now, please answer this question. Before you wanted a car, yeah? After that, you bought it. Now you have the car. There are 3 points here. I want a car. I don't have a car. This point, I want a car. This point, I don't have a car. In this point, I have a car. I want a car. This vexation is created due to wanting. I don't have a car. This vexation is created due to not having a car. This is created because of having the car. Therefore, vexation decreases up to this level. My question is, do you still want a car? You wanted a car and you didn't have it. Therefore, somehow you achieved it, you bought the car. Now you have the car. Do you still want the car? No? No. Yeah? You don't want it. Very good. Then I'm going to send a letter, a piece of paper. Please write it down and give it to me. Then I can collect all of your cars because you said that you don't want the car. What about your wife? You wanted a wife. Apply it in your life, ladies and gentlemen. Your life achievements. You thought that all these things are life achievements, but I don't believe that. What I believe is all these things are the remedy for your vexation. That's what you thought. Because your mind was so vexed and you had to do it. You had to do it. Otherwise, you had to commit suicide, but you are still alive. That means you didn't choose the second path. Am I correct? Are you still alive? Yes. That means you chose the second one. That means somehow, sometimes you don't think, or actually you didn't think about your virtues, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes. Because sometimes you had to steal. Because mind was so vexed, you had to do something to come out of that. You can't tolerate, you couldn't tolerate. That's why people steal. People are not born to steal. People are not born to murder. When someone comes to hurt your children, what would you do? Your mind will be so vexed at that time. And at that time, you won't think about your virtues. The mind will react so quickly. That's how it is. Now tell me, do you still want the car? Yeah? That means wanting is still in your mind, ladies and gentlemen. Wanting is still in your mind. But you achieved it. But wanting is still in your mind. That's why you can't give it up. That's why you had to protect it. Now you had the car and you had to protect it. Think about this. Let's take another one then. Because this is only a car. Let's talk about a house, because you finally got a house. House. Now you got another desire. I want a house. Good. Now, youngsters, ladies and gentlemen, young people, what do you think now? You came to this country perhaps you came to this country for to get a good education, and finally now you want to settle in here. Then to buy a nice car, a nice house, probably a nice partner, beautiful or handsome one. All these are the desires. Let's go back to this. Now you have a wanting, another wanting. Wanting for a house, nice house. When you have a wanting, what's the first thing you feel? Vexation. Now your mind is vexed. Oh, I'm sorry. Can I rub this? Can I clean this? The first one. Because when you want a house, you don't want the car. What do you think? No, you want both. You want both, don't worry. But remember that happiness is here. Happiness is the original state of the mind. It is God gifted. You can't create it, you can't break it, you can't destroy it. It is in your mind. You don't have to do anything to create it. It is in your mind. Now you have to protect this car. By protecting it, you have another wanting. Because some of your friends bought a new house and you went there to see them and you saw the house, he said that this house is fantastic, then because you always believe it, you always believe that the world is pleasurable. World is pleasurable. That's because of ignorance. Because you don't know about the reality. Therefore, you strongly believe that the world is pleasurable. Then you thought that because your friend said that the house is fantastic and you saw a smile in his face, but you didn't see his bank account, ladies and gentlemen, did you? You didn't see his bank account. He got a loan from other friends. He lent some money and he got a mortgage, maybe for another 20, 30 years. Sometimes he had to come back after his death to pay his debt. Because 20 years, raise your hand, please. Those who believe that you will definitely live another 20 years. then you all have to come back to pay your mortgage. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we buy. That's the thing. Because when you have a desire, you can't stop yourself. Don't ever think that you do all these things. Actually, you don't do all those things because nothing is called you. This is only a false sensation of existence. But I'm not talking about that today. There is only a sensation. It's a false sensation. The mind exists, and the vexed mind does everything. Let's go back to this. Because I want you to understand that your path and the Lord Buddha's path, you will see the difference. And whatever path is the right path, choose it. If you still believe that, no, my path is the correct path, please go ahead. Let's go back to this. Now he has another wanting, or you have another wanting to buy a house. Then the very first thought come to your mind is, I don't have it. Now come to that point. Here, I want it, I don't have it, I don't have it, I don't have it, I don't have it. Then I have it. That's why when you have something, instantly you feel something less. That's called pleasure. It's an instant experience. After that, it disappears. When you bought your car, you got that experience. Now you have the car. Do you still feel that the same experience? When you got a wife, you felt the same experience. Yeah? Can you remember your wedding? Huh? You thought that you owned her, you achieved her, or when she said yes to your proposal, at that time, you were over the moon. Do you still feel the same experience? Are you over the moon? Or under the hell? It's only an instant experience. That's called pleasure. But happiness is not instant, ladies and gentlemen. It is inbuilt. Now here, when it decreases, then you will feel again pleasure, but it comes up to here and stop there. You got a pleasure. Now you might think that I'm a rich person now because I have a car and a house. Not only that, you got something else as well. What is that? It's vexation. Tell me now, please. Do you want this house now? Yes? Now you have two wantings. I want the car, I want the house. After that, you got married. Then, you got children. Then, don't you want your children? You want them? Okay. You want your children. Good. That's why you protect them. You use your life because you can't tolerate of losing them. You can't tolerate of losing the car because you want it. You still want it, ladies and gentlemen. But can you remember when you don't have that desire? When you don't have that desire, you didn't have that vexation. So I will give you an example. Are you vexed to have a tail? A tail? Do you have a vexation for that? No. Why? Because you don't want it. But, tell me, do you want a tail? No. Yeah? You don't want a tail. Therefore, you don't have a vexation. But if I tell you something nice about a tail, having a tail, if I tell that you can be the king if you can have a tail, then you will get a desire because you still think that by becoming a king will make you happy. That's the ignorance. Because you don't know that the happiness is within your mind. It is inbuilt. You don't know that. You still believe that you can achieve happiness in outside world. Therefore, when I say that if you can have a tail, you will be the king, then you will have a wanting. When you have a wanting, you will have vexation. When you are vexed, you do something to have a tail. You will apply all sort of balms. You will take all sort of maybe you will drink more milk with calcium to have a tail. You will do anything. You will go to a plastic surgeon and ask, how can I have my tail back? Because you know that there is a small bone. There's a small bone there. Then you might follow all the rules to have it, ladies and gentlemen. But the problem is, now you don't want it. That's why you don't have that vexation. When you were a child, you didn't have a vexation of having a family. Can you remember that? Mothers go to your fast and say, now you are so vexed about your children. You can't come out of that, you know that. It has gone through your bones. If I try to take your children, not only you, birds, animals will cry, will fight because they want them. That's why you are so afraid about death. You don't want to hear that. If I talk about your children's death, you will plug your ears because you don't want to hear that, because that can't be tolerated. That's so painful, excruciating, because you want them. But when you were a girl, a small girl, you didn't have that desire. You didn't have that vexation. You didn't want to achieve it. But unfortunately, someone has planted it in your mind. I'm not talking about a social thing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about the Dhamma. I'm talking about your mind. The society wants you to have children, but I'm not talking about that. I'm just explaining the Dhamma. You didn't have that vexation before, but now you are vexed. When you were a child, you don't want a house. You didn't want a house, and you didn't want a business. But somehow you have started a business. Can you stop now? Let's think about the world richest person. Can he stop? Do you think that he is so greedy, that's why he doesn't stop and still continuing? No, he's vexed. He is vexed, that means that mind is vexed, ladies and gentlemen. That mind can't stop anything. Unfortunately, that person will die with that vexed mind. So, as you all, I'm sorry to say, please don't be offended. That will happen to you. Because you want this, you want this, you want this, you want this, you want everything. Huh? Can I ask you all desires, please? Do you think that this body is enough to write all your desires and what you have achieved so far? What you have achieved and still you want. This is not enough. That means here, 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 here. Now it goes up to there, ladies and gentlemen. But don't forget this, happiness is here. That's why if you experience happiness in this way, pigs will fly. What can we do now? Well, the problem is, tonight, when you see a new advertisement, you will get another desire to have it. That's what happened to me. That's why I wanted to find the truth. I wanted to see the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, I achieved it. I found the truth. Honestly, I can live without anything what I had. I only had this robe. I don't want a cupboard full of clothes. But you all have, and you can't discard them. Why? You still want them. Sometimes you don't wear, but you still want. Think about your jewelries. You want. Your jewelry, you want, but you don't wear, but you want. You maintain them. To maintain, you use your time. But remember this, ladies and gentlemen, time is an illusion. Actually, you don't use your time. Actually, you use your life. This is your life. To achieve this goal, it took 2 years. To achieve this goal, it took 3 years. To achieve this one, maybe 5 years, 2 years, 3.5 years, 4 years, 7 years, 8 years, 8.5 years. If you calculate all these things, this is your life. You have been spending your life to achieve all these goals, ladies and gentlemen, by thinking that you are achieving a goal. Actually, you are not achieving a goal, you are doing something to come out of vexation. And still you use your life to protect these things. You may be a doctor, an engineer, a lawyer, but finally you became a security guard. You guard all these things, ladies and gentlemen. You guard your children, you guard your car, you guard your house, and maybe a builder, because you have a house. We had to maintain that. mechanic. You have to maintain your car. You have to wash your car. And sometimes you don't think about your body. You don't think about your body. You don't think about your car. That's why you use less diesel to your car, but you go drive through and eat junk food. You put junk food into your body, but you use super diesel into your car because you are so into it. You got your body free, but you spent your life, maybe 2 years, to achieve that goal. Therefore, that car is so important to you. Therefore, you always protect it. This is your life. Now I will tell you how to come out of this. I told you that when vexation rises, you can do something to decrease it, but you can't eradicate all other things, these things. If you want to feel happiness, you need to eradicate these things, etc. That's a way. Only one way. To understand that, we need to understand the creation of this, how the wanting is created. The wanting is created due to desire. Desire is created due to ignorance. The desire, we can say attachment if you want. Due to ignorance, attachment is created. Due to attachment, wanting is created. When the wanting is created, the mind is vexed. Then it goes up and comes down, but still the mind is vexed. Then if we want to eradicate this, we need to eradicate ignorance. Now your mind thinks that these things are very important to you. Therefore, mind is always vexed. When you get that feeling, these things are very important to you. These things are very valuable. This car is very valuable. This house is very valuable. When you get that feeling, your mind is always vexed. You get that feeling due to ignorance. If we can eradicate that, this attachment disappears. Then you won't have wanting. But you can keep the car, but you don't have a wanting. You can maintain it, but you don't feel suffering. You don't suffer because of this. You can eradicate fear. You hear? Now you have fear of losing it. All the time, think about that. Think about what you have. Think about your face. Think about your beautiful face. Don't you have a fear of losing that face? If someone throw some acids on your face, what do you feel? Do you want it? Do you want that experience? No, because you can't tolerate that. Because you love this face. You want this. Therefore, you always have a fear. Fear of losing. Because you want this. Because you want this. You want your hair. You want your hair to be black. One day, what will happen? You have a fear. Then, but there's a solution in the marketplace. They will offer you some colorings, some dyes, then you can use them. But still you have to maintain that. You can't give anything up, ladies and gentlemen, because you always want. To eradicate wanting, this is the way. Let's eradicate ignorance. Let's be enlightened about the world, about nature. Let's be enlightened. Let me explain this again. You believe that the world is pleasurable. Therefore, when someone gives a view, you believe it. At the same time, a desire is created. But when someone says that you are so ugly, you don't believe it because you strongly believe that you are so beautiful, so handsome. That means you know about it. But about the world, you don't know. You don't know 100% about it. That's why I told you, that's the ignorance. You are not ignorant about your appearance. You are beautiful, okay. You are not a donkey, okay. You know it, 100%. You know it. You know it fully. You are not ignorant about that. But you are ignorant about nature. You are ignorant about universe. You are ignorant about world. That's why you believe that world is so pleasurable. You can achieve happiness in the world by all these goods, all these products. Let me enlighten you. What is the color of this pen, ladies and gentlemen? What is the color of this pen? Red. I'm going to enlighten you, but don't. But initially, I think you may think that I'm a lunatic. That's how everyone feels at the beginning. Until you are enlightened. When you are enlightened, then you will respect this idea, the doctrine of the Lord Buddha. Let's say, what's the color of this pen? Red. But this pen doesn't have a color, ladies and gentlemen. This pen doesn't have a color. The color is created in your mind. Now you definitely think that this is a lunatic, or I'm going to waste my time by listening to him. No, this is scientifically proven. This lid has some pigments, dyes. This is a dye, this is a pigment. The color is created in your mind. This is colorless. If you don't believe, let me ask a question. We all know that this is made of subatomic particles. This is made of plastic, at least. We all know that. This is made of plastic. Okay, plastic. Plastic means carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Let's put some nitrogen also if you want. Let's add some nitrogen also if you want. These things. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. Please tell me the color of carbon. Please. Chemist, please. Color of carbon. Color of carbon. Then sometimes you might think that color of carbon is black because you have seen charcoal. But haven't you seen diamond? Diamond also is made of carbon. Actually, Carbon is colorless. Carbon doesn't have a color, ladies and gentlemen. What about hydrogen? Colorless. What about oxygen? Colorless. Nitrogen? Colorless. If you can't believe that, let's go further. Let's go further and say, with these carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, all these things are made of subatomic particles. Electrons, protons, mesons, pions, kaons, all this stuff. Let's talk about all the first three, electrons, protons, and neutrons. Now, my question is, what's the color of an electron? What's the color of an electron? It doesn't have a color. What about a proton? It doesn't have a color. Neutron? It doesn't have a color. All these things are colorless. Now let me ask another question. If electron, proton, and neutron, if they don't have colors, how can this be red? Because this is made of subatomic particles. This doesn't have a color, ladies and gentlemen. If this is plastic and this is also plastic, then tell me why this is black and this is red then? You have to choose either electron is red or black. Choose the color. These things are made of subatomic particles. Then how can this be red and this be black? This is created in your mind. This has pigments, ladies and gentlemen. This doesn't have a color. Try to understand this. This is scientifically proven. You can't deny this if you have learned it. I want you to understand this and practice. That's it. You'll be free from suffering. This is not hard. And the hardest part is you can't change. You don't want to change your mind patterns because you have understood something and you want to continue. You don't want to come out of your comfort zone. That's the problem. But you will understand this. Definitely. I'm a good teacher. Don't worry. I'll let you understand this. This doesn't have a color. The color is created in your mind. Have you heard about corn cells in your eyes? In your eyes, you have two types of cells. Rod cells and corn cells. Corn cells are activated due to light, not colors. Corn cells are activated due to light energy, ladies and gentlemen, not colors. Light energy is not a color. It's only a vibration. You all have learned about it. It's an electromagnetic wave. That electromagnetic wave activates the corn cell. Then the mind or the color is created in the mind because it goes to the brain through your nerve system. If you take inside of your nerve system, it has a current. Now, please tell me the color of the electricity. A moving electron or moving an ion. Just tell me the color of that. No. If the color is created in your brain must be so colorful, then when doctors do the post-mortem, they might see very colorful brain. Have you seen a colorful brain? No. The mind owns all these things. That means the color is created in the mind. Now tell me, if the color is created in the mind, how this be beautiful? How this bouquet of flowers here be beautiful. You can see the color, ladies and gentlemen. The color is created in your mind. If the color is created in your mind, how can this be beautiful? How can you expect? How could you expect? Don't be offended, please. How could you expect this to be beautiful? How could you expect to be happy by having this? If the color is created in your mind, do you love these atoms? These atoms? Do you want to own these atoms or the. Okay, what do you want? Actually, you want to own the colors, ladies and gentlemen. You don't want these electrons. This is made of electrons, protons, and neutrons. Do you want this? And this is also made of electrons, protons, and neutrons. Why do you go to your girlfriend and offer this to her? Well, by saying that, will you marry me? She will slap you. But it's same. You can say that, why do you slap me? You are so ignorant, that's why you slapped me. Because this is made of subatomic particles, and this is also made of subatomic particles. Colors are created in your mind. Then, if you want to offer this, actually you can offer this also. That's what I'm telling you. Why do you expect this if the color is created in your mind? How do you expect happiness from this? But somehow, due to ignorance, that's why I told you, due to ignorance, I use modern science you to understand this with the doctrine of the Lord Buddha. This is colorless. What about your skin? Because you have seen a beautiful girl. Gentlemen, you have seen a beautiful partner. Ladies, how did you see his or her beauty? Because you have seen the colors. Your face is white. Some of your face are white. My one is black, maybe. Why? Do you think that I eat black rice and you eat white rice? Is that the reason you are fair, white, and I'm brown or black? And your face is white and your hair is black? That's it. Do you eat some kind of black thing to make your hair? That's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. What you can see is the color which is created in your mind. This skin has pigments. We all know the name of that pigment. Scientists have found it. What's the name? Melanin. You are so white because you have a small amount of melanin, because you don't need it. Melanin is not to be beautiful or not to show the color. Melanin is there to protect your genes from the sunlight. But it's a pigment. Therefore, when light rays hit on it and reflect back and come to your eyes, and it activates your corn cells, and an electric current is generated and goes to the brain, and finally a message is sent to the mind. Then the mind is created with the color. There's a process. This is how you can see colors. This is scientifically proven up to the brain. Up to brain, it is scientifically proven. Scientists can't prove the mind. Maybe in the future they will talk about that, but until today they can't prove anything about the mind, because mind is an individual experience. Because when I show this, you can see red color, and you also can. Yeah? You both think that you both see the same color, but it's not. But you both see red color, but that can be different. That can be different. Can you prove? Can you prove that you are seeing a certain, a particular color? Can you prove that? No, because it's only to you. Therefore, scientists can't prove anything. That's why they stop by the brain. However, whether it is in the brain or the mind, we definitely know that color is not in the pen. But you try to find colors, you try to find the beauty in outside world. You saw a fair girl. Is that correct? You saw a fair girl. Is that correct? Did you see a fair girl? You saw a girl, and the colors were created in your mind. That was fair. If you can add both of them together, you will see a beautiful girl. Don't be ignorant by thinking that that girl is so fair. The girl or the boy, whoever, they don't have colors in their face. And ladies, especially, you apply your facial things, I would say. So many things. Lip gloss. What do you apply? What do you apply? When you use lip gloss, what do you apply? A pigment. Then others can see the color. That's why I told you, you always apply things to show others that you are so beautiful. Don't be offended, please. That's why you draw. You draw. You are a good artist. You go in front of the mirror and you start to draw. This, everything. You draw. Draw means you apply. Actually, it's then your face becomes a drawing. Because you draw. You apply pigments, apply dye. These are not colors. Try to understand that. That's totally fine. You can apply it. I want you to be so beautiful, but that beauty should come from your intelligence. If you are so ignorant, again, I'm not talking about education. You are well educated. Right? I'm talking about the reality. Ignorance about the reality. Right? Okay. In that case, if you are so ignorant, how can you be so beautiful? That's why I want you to be enlightened and see the truth. That's it. Now, if you can understand this thoroughly, if you can understand this, if someone comes to you and say that I saw a beautiful girl, will you believe it? If you can practice this, but if you don't practice this is only wisdom, not wisdom actually, this is only knowledge. I pass this knowledge, then you have to convert this to a wisdom. The difference between knowledge and a wisdom, a piece of knowledge and a wisdom, is wisdom is when you practice, you will a wisdom appears when you practice. That means you don't have to think. Instantly, when you see something, you can use it. But information on a piece of knowledge, then you have to use that and apply it all the time. That's the difference between a piece of information or piece of knowledge and wisdom. I want you to have a wisdom. That means you have to convert this to wisdom by practicing it, contemplating it, reflecting it. That's what we do. Let's go to the next step. What about the sound? Do you really think that I have been talking to you? Sound has been emitting from my throat. Please don't think that I'm a lunatic, ladies and gentlemen. Then you have to fight with all scientists because they have proven this. Sometimes you don't know because you are so busy to come out of vexation. The modern science has developed. They have found so many things. But still, if you are vexed at that time, you wanted to do something to come out of vexation and you didn't want to be enlightened, that was your fault. That was your fault. But this is the time to change. A fool stumbles at the same stone twice, you know that. Therefore, what we can do is, let's learn and be enlightened. Let's go to the sound. Here. The throat doesn't produce sound. Actually, it produces vibration. It produces only vibrations, ladies and gentlemen. I have been producing vibrations. That's why the microphone works. It works only with vibrations, not with sound. If you are not familiar with this one, but you are familiar with your ear, am I correct? Have you heard about a small organ in your outer ear called eardrum? You have an organ called eardrum. Eardrum vibrates with the vibration, not with the sound. Doesn't that prove that the sound is created in your mind? If I create sound from my throat, you can't hear it because your eardrum only vibrates with the vibration. That's why you can hear it. You can hear it. You can hear it. You can hear it. Do you think that it's screaming because I'm hitting it? Is it screaming? Is it screaming? No. Vibration. Sound is not in outside world, ladies and gentlemen. Sound is created in your mind. But you invite singers and ask them to sing, and you listen by saying that, oh, your voice is so beautiful. And you pay for it. The sound is created in your mind and you pay for it, ladies and gentlemen. I have understood that, therefore I don't pay for it anymore. And I don't pay my attention either. the sound. Now tell me, if the color is created in your mind, if the sound is created in your mind, what do you expect from this world? Do you still think that world will make you happy? The world will make you happy. This bouquet of flowers makes you happy. Do you still believe that? No, because you can't sense this even, ladies and gentlemen. You can't sense. You can only sense. You have 6 senses: sight, sound, taste, smell, touch, and thoughts. There are 6 things. You can't find colors here. You can't find sound here. In here, can you? Can you find? No. What about smell? What about taste? Okay, let's talk about taste. Because you are so into taste, you always want to taste. That's why you go to parties and maybe everything you go to because you want to eat. Why? Do you? Please don't be offended again. Do you really want to eat or taste? Just tell me. Do you know the limit? Actually, you need only small amount of food to maintain your body. Do you agree or not? Please don't be offended and let's be friends. Let's talk about this. Otherwise, if you say that, oh, it's offensive, then how can I talk? Then I would say, oh, you are so beautiful, you are so intelligent, and that's it. Because I can't speak against you. I'm not speaking against you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm speaking against the view you have, because it destroys you. I'm talking out of compassion. Because I have won. I don't have any quarrel with you. I don't expect happiness from this. Therefore, you can't pull out of me. You can't make me suffer by showing me anything. Tell me, try. Don't hit me. But other than physical, pain is unavoidable. But mental suffering is optional. If you want, you can choose. Show me anything, tell me anything, tell me that, this one is so beautiful, this one is so nice, whatever it is, so precious. And try to disrobe me. Send me the most beautiful girl to me and try to disrobe me. At least make me vexed by thinking that, oh, I was so unlucky. I became a monk, otherwise I would marry this girl. Send me someone. No. I have my own protection, ladies and gentlemen. Wisdom. My mind works with wisdom, which Lord Buddha gave to me. I'm not bound to taste anything. Therefore, I have an alms bowl. I can come to you. I can beg. Therefore, I don't want a job. But you want a job because you can't beg. Why can't you beg, ladies and gentlemen? Because you are addicted to taste. Because you think that taste is in food. Therefore, to taste, you eat every day. You only eat 200 grams, but you need to take taste. Therefore, you eat 700 grams. Then finally, you will go to a gym and exercise every day. Please don't be offended. That's what you do. Take only 200 grams, then you don't have to pay for the gym. Just take 200 grams, then you don't have to pay for your doctor. But you can't stop yourself. When you see something, let's say a slice of pizza, when you see that, oh, it's so colorful. That's how you think. It's so colorful. It's so ignorant, I would say. It's so ignorant because when you say, oh, it's so colorful, so beautiful, you say that, and then you might feel like, oh, it's so crunchy. It's so crunchy. Therefore, you pay for that to feel that sound. And after that, it's so smelly, like not that one. Then taste and sometimes touch. Let's talk about taste. But you pay for this waste and it's not good for your health. You know it, but still you want the taste, therefore you take it. You can't control yourself. You can't control your mind. Actually, you can't control your mind because your mind is vexed. Because your mind thinks that this world is pleasurable. How can it be pleasurable if it doesn't have a color, if it doesn't have a sound, if it doesn't have smells, if it doesn't have a taste, if it doesn't have touch? I'll come to that part. Let me draw your tongue. I'm not a good artist, ladies and gentlemen. I'll draw it. Is that enough to eat all the things in the world? This tongue? Yeah? Let's take this tongue. And it has small organs called taste buds. They have different shapes. I can't draw the exact shape, but I will draw some shape, which we all know. This. When you eat, you can name them as pizza, bread, so on and so forth. But you all know that you eat carbohydrate, protein, lipids, vitamins, and minerals. Do you all know that? Okay. Please tell me the color of carbohydrate or the taste of carbohydrate. Before that, carbohydrate is made of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Carbohydrate. Oh, let's say glucose. It has carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Glucose. What's the taste of carbon? What about hydrogen? What about oxygen? It doesn't have a taste. Therefore, glucose doesn't have a taste. But it has a shape. It doesn't have a taste, but it has a shape. That shape fits into this. Let's say that it has a shape of a circle. That shape fits into this. When it is fixed in, this nerve ending is activated. Electric impulse is activated, and it goes to the brain, and a message is sent to the mind. Then the mind is created. The mind is created with the taste. Therefore, if you want to taste something, you can use some electrodes and stimulate your nerve system, then you can taste. You don't want to eat vexation. Don't destroy your body by eating. Use some electrodes and feel the taste. I think one day scientists will produce that. Don't worry. Then you can feel the taste without eating, because taste is not in the food. Have you heard about artificial sweetness? People are suffering with diabetes. They are not permitted to eat glucose, sugar, glucose. But if you can find something has a shape similar to glucose, you can use it as an artificial sweetener. But it shouldn't be toxic. That's it. You can start a business now. Find a chemist and start a business. Ask him to invent new compound which has a shape of sugar, which means glucose. When you use that shape will be fixed into the shape of the taste bud, and the nerve ending generates the current. Then the taste will be created in the mind. Finally, I will come to touch, because you may have thought that you have touched your wife, your children, your husband, your partner. Have you touched? You have been together for 20 years, but still you haven't had a chance to touch your partner. You can't. As I told you, you never believe this, but this is the truth. If you don't believe me, believe in science. You have to, because it is proven. I draw your finger and show you. This is your finger. In your finger, there are some nerve endings just near the skin, and there are some a little bit deeper. When this one is activated, when this nerve ending is activated, you feel softness. That's called soft touch. And when this is activated, it's called hard touch. You feel hardness. Softness is not in outside world. If you touch a sponge, your finger sinks into it. Therefore, your finger is not pressurized. It only pressurizes up to here, because it sinks. Therefore, it leads this to be activated. This one. Therefore, you feel softness. But you think that softness is in the sponge. When you touch your baby, You feel so soft. Why? Your finger sinks. But if you touch a man, athlete, a boxer, it's so hard. Why? You feel hardness. If you touch this, you feel hardness. Because when you touch this, your finger doesn't sink. Therefore, when you apply pressure, your finger is pressurized. Then you will feel. Then this nerve ending is activated and hardness is created in your mind. By saying all these things, I'm not saying that everything is created in the mind. All the sensations are created in the mind, ladies and gentlemen. But in outside world, these things are there. Electrons, protons, neutrons. All these things are here. If you think that everything is created in the mind, if this table also is created in your mind, then your mind should be very heavy. Because this is a heavy object. What about this building then? But all these colors are created in your mind. All the sensations. What about this? Actually, you can meditate if you want by looking at this. How? Nothing comes from this essence, only energy comes from this. Energy can't be seen. All the colors are created in your mind and it projects onto this. This is how it works. When you watch television, when you watch your television, then that can be a meditation. Do that meditation. Try to understand. When you see that, don't be deceived. Colors are not here. And if you know about these things, if you know about the television technology, you know that colors are not there. If you believe that colors are there, sometimes you believe that actors and actresses are also there. Then you might think that this is so thin, how can they be inside my TV? If I say that, you feel so something you feel. If I say that, if you might believe that actors and actresses are inside my TV, you feel so embarrassed. Why? You feel that you're so ignorant. But what about that? That's why I want you to be enlightened. Be enlightened, ladies and gentlemen. Be enlightened. Colors are created in your mind and it projects onto this screen. That's what I'm telling you. No one has invented any object. If you can find one, please show it to me. No one has invented any object that can see colors. Any equipment in the world that can see colors, sound, taste, touch, and smell. That is created in the mind. Therefore, there is no object, there is no equipment that can sense it. Because it is created in your mind. If it is there, we can create an equipment to detect it. But it is created in your mind. It is created in your mind. It is not created now, ladies and gentlemen. When you see, with the help of light rays, it is created in your mind. If it is created in your mind, only your mind can perceive it. Try to understand that. If something is created in your mind, only the mind can perceive it. Even my mind can't perceive that because it is created in your mind. But if the color is here, we all can perceive this. Sometimes we can make an equipment to perceive this. If the color is here, but if the color is created in your mind, only the mind can create it, only your mind can create it, even my mind can't create it. My mind can't perceive it. Your mind can perceive it. Thus I told you it's only individual, personal experience. Therefore, modern science can't put its finger on it. Now, let's conclude this. I have a million things to say, ladies and gentlemen, but time always against us. Time is always against us. I want you to be enlightened. Then you will be happy. You won't expect things. No one can fool you. But now everyone can do that. Even a small kid can do that. Because you let them fool you by believing that the world is so pleasurable. The world, you can find happiness in the world. But now, let's conclude this. Please tell me, if you can't sense the world, how can the world be pleasurable? Just tell me, give me the answer. You all are well-educated people. I believe it. Just tell me the answer. If you can't sense the world, if you can sense, tell me one thing you can sense. You can't sense heat, coldness, hotness. Both of them are created in your mind. Then you might say that, oh, then how can we, then we measure temperature. What about that? Do you measure temperature? If you have learnt about it, actually, we don't measure the temperature, we measure the expansion of mercury. If you have learned these things, I think you are with me. You agree with me. Hotness and coldness is created in your mind because we have nerve endings. There are 4 types of nerve endings, mainly. There are more. Mainly 4 types of nerve endings that can detect. Detect means that can be activated with the pressure, low pressure and high pressure, and the temperature. Now, do you think that you can sense the world you are living? Then if you can't sense the world, why do you believe that the world is so pleasurable? Actually, why do you live in this world, ladies and gentlemen? Why do you want to come to the world over and over again? What's the reason? Look, what have you done? You have invested your time. That's how you want to believe. But you have wasted your time. But time is an illusion. Therefore, you don't have wasted your time. You have wasted your life. You will leave this world empty-handed, with vexed mind. And you will come back to come out of that, to do something to come out of that. This is the samsara, if you all believe it. If you can achieve happiness in this life, you don't have to come back. If you can be satisfied in this life, you don't have to come back. But if you die with unsatisfied mind, you will come back to satisfied. That's what has happened. You had an unsatisfied mind, therefore you did something to satisfy it, and again you had an unsatisfied mind. Then you did something to satisfy it. And finally, you will come to your end with an unsatisfied mind. Because you always have desires because you are so ignorant about the reality. Now, if you can at least understand the reality, please contemplate. When you see something, try to understand the reality. That's it. I'm not saying that reject everything. You don't have to reject everything. I want you to understand everything. I don't reject everything. I don't reject anything. I can see your face as it is. I don't want you to change. I can accept it. That's why the Lord Buddha asked us to accept, not to change. We are not going to change the world. We are going to accept the world because we know the reality of the world. If you can understand the reality and contemplate it, finally, you will accept the world as it is. Then you will accept the death. You will accept aging. But now you can't accept aging. You have a fear of aging. You have a fear of death. Don't you have? You have a fear of losing everything. You can't accept them. You can accept beauty. You can accept some value. You can accept all these things, but can you accept death? Can you accept your daughter's death? Oh, don't ask me. Can you accept your partner's death? No. But you can accept your son's victory. Can you accept his loss? I can say that I am one of the luckiest, ladies and gentlemen. I got the truth and I have started to contemplate and I have contemplated it and I can accept the world as it is. Even the world turns upside down. I can accept that. I can accept your food. I can accept your shelter. Whatever it is, I can accept. Whatever the dress you offer me, I can accept. Therefore, I don't have to waste my life to do a job and have all these things and maintain it forever. Think about your life. I had your life and I got the U-turn and I started my journey. Therefore, if you really want to be happy, I'm talking about my life experience, ladies and gentlemen. If you really want to be happy, come and join with us. Come to our monastery. Visit our monastery and see. Then you will see. If you can find even a person who is sad, just inform me. They are happy there because they have seen the truth and they contemplate. They use their life to contemplate the Dhamma, which means contemplate the doctrine of the Lord Buddha and realize the world. Day by day, they become happy because day by day, they dissolve all the desires what they have. But only the desire, not the house. You don't have to dissolve your house. You don't have to dissolve your daughter, your son. You don't have to. You have to dissolve your desire. That's it. Desire was in your mind is in your mind now. What you need to do is be enlightened day by day and dissolve all the desires you have in your mind. Then you can have all of them and you can have the peace of mind also. Does that make sense to you? As I told you, I have a million things to say, but the problem is time. Again, I invite you all to come to the monastery. Come to our monastery, the paradise, and experience happiness. Stay with us few months or few weeks. We will look after you. Come to the monastery and stay with us. You will see the difference. You will be a changed man one day. And finally, if you use the same path, I would say this. You may have heard this song. I have tried so hard and got so far. But in the end, it doesn't even matter. You can be so rich. One can be so poor. In the end, it doesn't even matter. You can be a king. One can be a servant. But in the end, it doesn't even matter. Everything appears. All the titles you get on the chessboard. But in the end, everything goes to the same box. That's why it said, in the end of the game, the queen and the pawn, both of them go to the same box. You can be an engineer, a lawyer, a rich person, a woman, a man, whoever. At the end of the game, you all will go to the same box. Before that, try to take the U-turn. We will help you. If you really want to change your life, if you really want to be happy one day, if you really want to experience happiness, we are here. When you are ready, let us know. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. May the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem be with you all. Thank you.